already taking a look at this is talking about kind of having a little bit more fun, doing something that may be a little risky, but ultimately settles things down. Because you got two opposite cards here. You got the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Now, they're only opposites because they do things differently. While the King of Pentacles assumes responsibility, the King of Wands he knows what his responsibilities are, but he'll always do what he loves to do first. He'll always, think of himself, if that makes sense. He'll always consider himself in his decision making. If he wants to do it, if he's feeling it, if he's not feeling it. Now, with playfulness, it does talk about having a little bit more fun, just kind of tapping into an energy that's lighthearted and not so very serious, right? And the King of Pentacles is very serious, okay? But the King of Pentacles also provides a stable ground for not just for himself, but the people that he loves. He's a very familial gentleman. This doesn't have to be a man, okay, guys? When the kings come up, it doesn't have to be specifically a guy. It could be a female as well. But it also kind of brings out the characteristics. Well, really, to me, when it comes to kings, the characteristics really speak the most, not just pointing out that there's a person in this reading, okay? Because, of course, you got two people that we're working with. So, in the mind areas, right, the mind sections here, we have the Seven of Swords for you, Leo, and you have the Three of Swords for the other person. Now, feel free to go ahead and resonate with the other side if this side doesn't resonate with you. But going into this person is definitely taking a ton of risk. So they feel like they're taking a lot of risks, doing some things that honestly may not make them feel very secure, but I do think that they're trying to, they look at this situation, or they're in a relationship and they feel like this is definitely taking a shot in the dark, right? They're very, aware of what their actions have definitely, well, not their actions, but this relationship does drum up a lot, not a lot of drama, but they are taking risks. Like, they see that there is potential for greatness, which is why they took it, but of course, anything can happen, and that's why they see it as a risk. Now, the other person here is seeing Three of Swords. So for this relationship, there is a lot of triggers that this person is feeling. This person is feeling a hell of a lot of reminders from the past, pains from the past. And I feel like with the Three of Swords here, this person is having to overcome a lot of those pains, overcome a lot of those hurts, which is definitely difficult for them because obviously it's something that they still haven't been able to really take time to heal, obviously, right? So this person with this relationship, they're triggered. I don't think it's the relationship that's made them triggered, or this relationship that's hurt them. It very well could be, but I feel like this is old pains. This is pains that have nothing to do with the relationship, but they get triggered because of the position that they're in, right? What they feel like they have to do. But there's a lot of old stuff being dredged up that they're realizing never really was taken care of, never really was healed. And I think they're realizing now that there's some things that need to be done in order for them to be able to move forward and see potential for, in this relationship. Now, the reason why I'm saying that this person definitely has, this triggered feeling that they've got going on, or this triggering kind of energy that they've got going for them, it's due to the fact that they're in a situation probably very similar to one of the past here. Now, the two is because we go back, right? We're going back in time here. We're taking a step back, and we're seeing that this is the Two of Swords and they're present, right? This is how they're displaying themselves to others. And this is how you see them, and how they're being seen right now is the Two of Swords. So they're not making a decision; they're keeping the balance, and they're honestly, they're blindfolded right now. They're not really able to make a clear decision because they're not seeing anything outside. They're not seeing what's going on. So while you Leo, you're seeing potential for great happiness. You see the sun. You see clarity. Everything's good. The other person here doesn't see anything. They just think of all the pains that they've experienced, and that was why they can't move forward. That's why they look like this. That's why they look like they're just kind of stuck in time. And it's to honestly, they have to take the blindfold off and not let this be what they be the only thing that they see, because honestly, they're keeping themselves from growing here. Okay, because this is a decision that they honestly have to make. I think it's hard for them, of course, because they're coming from a place of pain, right? And they're trying to prevent that sort of pain. But the only way for them to truly prevent that pain is by kind of doing what you're doing here. Take a risk, take off the blindfold, and make a decision about what they truly want, right? About, make a decision to take this chance, take an opportunity to, take this opportunity to see where things go. Because the lovers is in this reading, but you have the Two of Cups in your underlying energy. Underneath that's ten of Cups. That's awesome. Two of Cups talks about two people coming together, right? It's like a very not a true relationship, a true connection, but that connection is pretty darn significant. You guys mirror each other. You guys have very similar, emotions and feelings in ways that you guys can relate to one another. You definitely have connected, in a very intimate way, but not in a way that's for because this Two of Cups could be anything. It could be platonic love. It could be a romantic love. It can be coworker, like love between coworkers, They could be, love is the same regardless, but this type of person, it can be anyone. And it's like, you guys are definitely tied together, soulmates. That's what the Two of Cups can also indicate too. But this person's having a hard time. It's like a hard time accepting this truth because of what they've experienced. Because me, the Two of Swords to me is never really a decision that they need to make. It's usually the execution of it. Because the second they take off the blindfold, they know what decision they need to make. They know what path they need to go down. So the challenge, not the challenge, but what brought you together, right, was the King of Wands. Now, it could be, this looks like you, Leo, to be honest with you. It looks like you were the one that brought you two together. You were confident in yourself. You were definitely feeling your vibes. You're definitely enjoying life. The King of Wands would definitely enjoy life. And I feel like your energy drew this person into your life, right? You just have a different approach to life, a different look on life, right? You just had this enjoyable kind of attitude towards life. You were good with it. You're solid. You're stable. Because the King of Pentacles is a card of, is a fixed sign. It represents all, the fixed sign. That's why I'm like, that's Taurian energy. That's opposite. Well, that's squaring each other, rather. Because obviously, because Taurus and Leo, they're both squaring energy, right? In the chart, they're not, they're not opposing each other, but they do have differences that clash a little bit. And it's interesting because the King of Wands, for me, represents freedom, life, creativity, energy being transmitted, right? This is a person that's willing to take action on anything, right? They're the action kings. And the King of Pentacles, he's an action king too, but he's very slow, he's very patient, he's very calculated. He does things on the grounds of plans, structure, order, organization, right? So it's very interesting that you go from the King of Pentacles, right? When you guys met, you guys were having a lot more fun. You guys were connecting at a very enjoyable level. You guys had a tremendous amount of passion for one another. And now the challenge that you guys face looks more like feeling stable in yourself to actually enjoy and go back to enjoying your life. Because the King of Pentacles, it can focus solely on finances and career. And this could be that this person is like both, whoever is too focused on their finances or too much focused on their career right now. It could be that that's the obstacle, right? Just trying to get out of that mindset of having to get, I need this money, I need this, I need to work so much that honestly it takes away from my freedom, takes away from me enjoying life, And at the same time, I feel like the challenge is now commitment to oneself, commitment to one's desires, what someone wants, committing to the journey ahead. Now, what's interesting here is that with this person with the Two of Swords, they have the Eight of Pentacles. And that Eight of Pentacles shows, which is the spiritual plane, guys. This does give us a bit of background as to why someone's presenting themselves the way they present themselves, as well as think the way they think. It's because they are aware of the work that's needed to be put into the situation in order for there to be something stable, right? Now, it can also indicate too that this person does have heartache here from this relationship, and it's because of all the hard work that they've put in. They have been diligent. They have been working, diligently to make this relationship work, but they kind of feel like they're left, keeping the balance because, they are still dealing with things that they haven't been able to get over. They're working. They have been working. It's just still painful. Whatever the situation is, whatever this problem is within this relationship, for this person anyway. Because I think this person sees potential for greatness in this relationship, but this person is struggling to even get over whatever this is, get over this pain. And the other person here with the Hangman on the other side here, again, reason why the sun is their present, right? Why they are, pretty much showing that they have the potential for happiness, and the reason why they think they're stepping outside of their comfort zone and doing a lot of things that are pretty risky is because they have seen the other side. They are I think they have seen something from a different perspective, right? They've taken the time to really look at things from a different angle, and they think they got something from that. I think they surrendered to a different perspective, or they've surrendered their old way of thinking, their ego, and seen it from a more practical perspective, if that makes sense. Because I feel like the egos is what brought you two together, and now it's about setting aside an ego to work and build something that means something that doesn't burn out very fast. It's taking away the candy and the soda and the pizza and put it in real vegetables, cooked food that's homemade. It's like going from processed food, having a good ass time, to let's be serious and start putting some serious nutrients into this relationship so it can actually grow into something that we both want it to grow into, kind of deal. That's what it's kind of giving me that vibe of. It's like somebody's having to kind of take out all the gunk and replace it with something, replace it with healthiness. And I feel like this person had to see from the other, see from their angle that the way that they've been living wasn't actually conducive to the relationship, because it wasn't building a solid foundation. It was building a balance. And I feel like there's some hardcore values that are going into this relationship now. It's very interesting reading this time around, Leo. Very interesting. Wow. Okay, let two become one. Okay, and then this too can also indicate some things as well, because now we're looking at the situation okay, so I don't know how many of you Leos are dating another fixed sign. Could be dating a Taurus, because the passion, creative energy that comes from the King of Wands can be utilized with the King of Pentacles, because he can make that a reality, right? The action, the passion that the King of Wands has, and the stable, organized, attention to detail oriented abilities the King of Pentacles have can really create some beautiful things. And it's interesting to me because I feel like each area has shown which side is which. I feel like this person here is the King of Pentacles. This person is traditional. This person is stable. This person is, does certain things at certain times, or they're very slow. They're very slow. But they also, it looks like they hold a little grudge. Not gonna lie. They do look like they can hold some grudges. But the King of Wands, taking risks, seeing potential for happiness, always optimistic, seeing the world from an optimistic lens. And because they have, and it's probably because they had to go through a period where they had to see the world from an optimistic view, or realize that the world doesn't change unless they change, unless they do something differently. Right? It's very experience-like, and it's interesting. And I feel like with this let two become one thing, this is not necessarily this is an obstacle. I think there's two people that are both kind of opposites, but they could work together. Or not opposites, or they're not really, they're working against each other right now, but they can work together. And how is by allowing both parties to one, overcome these pains for this person here, and be open to open to different perspectives and different opinions and different possibilities, like this person here, right? So healing this and then being open-minded for this, that can really work together, and that can really create a beautiful function. That's starting to look like two people for real. I was like, okay, that's weird, but now it's definitely giving me some vibes with that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the let two become one card, because it pretty much means just you being who you are you don't lose yourself in a relationship ever. You never lose yourself in a relationship. When you become one with someone, you're literally molding your abilities together. You're becoming a team. You still have your characteristics, you still have your individuality, but working together is one thing that is pretty much uniting your abilities. You're uniting your capabilities together. But share yourself with the one that you love. Be their best friend and let them be yours. Let your trust in each other be unshakable, and your love be strengthened by knowing and accepting each other's flaws and weaknesses, and still loving each other despite them. Give yourself completely, trusting that you will not lose your independence or sense of self, but instead become two halves of a stronger, loving whole.